Hello everybody and welcome again. Eliza here. As you might have seen in the intro of this video, we are gonna talk about something I made. This was my first attempt. I will put a disclaimer there. This was my first attempt at making something like this. So what we're gonna talk about is this entire thing right beside me, or rather right behind me. Well, now right in front of me. This is a WordPress that I made for the sake of it. I wanted to attempt making something like this, and so I did. So this is the screen of the WordPress. This is the keyboard. If I go here and I type, it takes some time. It's not the fastest, but eventually. Oh, I was looking at the wrong one. I did not select the correct line. But eventually we get a character. So this piece of machinery is composed, it's technically closer to like a typewriter than an actual printer. So how does this machine work? The concept behind it is fairly simple. It's very basic logical redstone on a decently large scale. As I said, I probably didn't use the most optimized way of doing something like this. I probably could have done it a lot better, but this was my first attempt. This was the first prototype, and I do want to share it with everyone. So the way I did that is we have this keyboard right here. And this keyboard, every one of those nut blocks is encoded, apart from the clear all function, is encoded to actually send a signal to this encoder. This encoder retranslates every character in the English alphabet, along with a few other characters, into binary. Now, I could have technically used the raw redstone signal, but I realized that it would not be very okay to do that, even if I had to retranslate them back into raw signal, because it would literally take from there until the screen, and the band would be just too big and it would not even load in all of the chunks. So I decided to actually do that for the sake of compacticity. Once it actually sends a signal, and actually I'm gonna use the /tick command to actually show how that would work. So let's say we click on A. So A sends a signal to this first repeater, which elongates the signal length enough for it to trigger torches. The signal travels up until that redstone torch, which disables. This line here usually keeps those two torches disabled. Actually, those 30 torches disabled. But once the torch is disabled here, it reinverses the signal, triggering that redstone. And now we have the signal actually traveling the cable. Then we arrive at this intersection, and this intersection is important because that is what defines the line on which we write. The way I did the line selector is we have a selector panel all the way over there. And by selecting which line you choose, by clicking on the appropriate node block, it'll send a permanent signal to one of these lines. And right now we have the one at the very top selected, so it sends a signal here and it pushes those pistons to actually go up, allowing signal here to be transferred to the other side. As I said, not very optimal. I could have used only one repeater here, but it works, so I kept it. So now we have basically a dummy signal that gets sent to every one of those lines. But as long as those blocks aren't really up, that doesn't pass through. So as you can see here, it actually goes that way, because it inverts the redstone torches on this first thing with the signal here. But no blocks, so no signal being transferred. So we're gonna follow the signal a little bit more. You can see it travel upward. And now we're at the line we're actually interested. So it sends the signal, and since this is the one we selected, the pistons are up and the signal can pass through. So it keeps going along that band, where it passes on those observers. And this system is what makes the slots work. Essentially, every single time it detects a signal going that way, no matter the signal, it'll update those observers, which will actually send a pulse to a latch. So we have a latch here. I could have used a redstone torch latch, but this was more compact. And it works in much of the same way. So this latch basically says, if I received a redstone pulse here, I will wait until this signal is sent here, and then I will retract those pistons, meaning the signal can't travel that way, and I will pull those pistons up, meaning every single time I write to a slot, it right here, and then it passes on to the next. And on the signal, so this is what it does on the bottom. It just sends, it just triggers that, which reverses that torches and that signal. Very simple in theory, just large application. Bulky machine. So once we actually get here, it actually tries to send a signal to each of those. If there's no signal on that torch, it will keep it the way it is, and then it will revert on top. If there's a signal, it will revert signal, meaning the signal actually goes up. Like that. And it passes back into this decoder, which does the exact opposite job to the encoder we have at the very start for the English characters. Only here it actually reverses that, and it actually retranslates into row signal. So we selected the letter A, I believe. So as you can see, it goes there, feeds into the decoder. And by the way, you can see the system activating here. So those retracted, next tick, those will start going up, I believe. And at the same time, you can see this line now is disabled. Because it's disabled, that torch will actually activate itself. There we go. And you can also see the signal reverting that way, which actually sends that signal right about here onto this first line. And now, because it sends it to that, this is a visual encoder for a screen. each of those technically count as their own separate screen. And you have the pixels and the latches here. As I said, I kind of did a bad job at optimizing this, and I realized it later. As I said, this was my first attempt. I'm seeking at ways to actually make this a lot more compact and a lot less bulky. Which is meaning the same thing, but in different ways. And I understand myself on this. So, now you can see all of those lines are being disabled, which enables all of the redstone torches. Those redstone signals feed into each of those pixels. And if I go on the other side, there we go. First pixel, second set of pixels, and third set of pixels, and we have an A. And that is basically how the entire machine works. When it comes to the reset function, I could not make it so that you can just backspace. You can only reset everything on this. So this button right there is the one that doesn't fit into the encoder. It fits to that redstone line, the purple line. It fits into a pulse extender, just to make it long enough in timing to make sure everything gets disabled on the slot latches over there. So it sends the signal two-way, one to this entire purple line, which sends it back to the pixel latch. That way, every pixel latch, every pixel that's been triggered actually gets reset. And it sends it also to that orange second line, right there, to the actual latch for the slot spaces. So it resets the pistons everywhere, and the pixels everywhere. Now if we go here, we have one of the slots in question separated from the rest of everything. To show how that works in a separate way. So we have the decoder here, which is the feed for the visual encoder. So it receives binary and it decrypts it into actual characters. And then it sends it to all of those visual encoders. And what the machine is essentially this, pasted over and over again. And as I've said multiple times, I probably could have made this a lot more compact. I probably could have used only one of those encoder for the entire machine. And instead of actually sending the binary signal to each slot, have the slot send one of those, meaning the entirety of the encoding and decoding part would have just been on one singular end of the thing. Which probably could have made it a lot more compact, but I only realized this after making it. Now I'm showcasing the thing in its current form. This is this is only a debut for me as a logical redstoner. I used to do practical redstone with farms and stuff like this, and now I'm doing this. So when it comes to actual practicality, it probably isn't the best. As I've said, this is a first try. This is only an attempt for me. Also a proof of concept for me to know that I'm able to do stuff like this. And I do think I actually I failed successfully. And yeah, I wanted to kind of like showcase the thing Because I made something, I'd like to have memories of it being on the internet. That would be nice. So this is my Redstone WordPress. Right now I'm learning other forms of logical Redstone. I'm learning actual computing. I'm actually trying to figure out how to make an ALU myself in Minecraft. So to kind of explain what an ALU is, it's the calculating part of the computer, if I may say. So I'm learning to make that, as this would probably help me in making a lot more complex things. One of my final objective with that kind of things would be making an actual computer I could code in assembly in Minecraft, with a decent enough screen and resolution to actually make interesting things. And yes, a lot of this is absolutely inspired by MadBatwing. MadBatwing is the person I follow the most when it comes to logical redstone. I invite anyone who ends up on this video to check him out. And especially if you actually seek to learn logical redstone, because this all, I wouldn't have been able to do it without his tutorials. So yeah. This was my WordPress. Hope you liked it. Very interesting piece of machinery. I'm going to probably try and see if I can link this world into my Discord. So if you want to check out the actual thing yourself, do join the Discord of the channel, because you will find the entire thing on there. And on this, I bid you all farewell, and you should see 2 more videos or 1 more video coming very soon, as I've been working on a few things. And yeah, on this, bye bye. Like if you liked, and subscribe.